Hello and welcome to easyCBM. Thank you for signing up for the free deluxe trial. Today, we're going to walk through the essential steps of using easyCBM to familiarize you with the features that work together to provide the best results possible. Although this brief overview will cover the essential steps to success, you should know that you can find information about the research supporting our measures within the resources area of the system. There you will find links to our professional development courses, our user's manual, and a link to the easyCBM technical reports page. We encourage you to explore these resources independently. Don't forget to like and subscribe to your favorite easyCBM social media outlet, where you'll find important news, customer support, and announcements about future updates to the program. First, to begin using the program, we'll need to add a student to the account and then add the student to a group. Today, we'll cover how to add a single student at a time, but keep in mind that one of the most convenient features in the Deluxe Edition is the bulk roster upload that saves teachers a lot of time if they're using easyCBM with large groups or entire classrooms. You'll find detailed steps on how to use this convenient feature in the Resources section. To add a student, click on the Students tab. Then, click the green plus button at the top of the student box on the right side of the page. The Student Profile window will open. Next, fill out the needed information, but keep in mind that the ID number, first and last name, and grade level must be added to save. Note, if you do not enter an ID number for the student, the program will auto-generate one for them. Click Save to finish. In order to assign students to online progress monitoring measures, the student will need to be added to a group. To create a group, click on the green plus button. For now, we'll use the student's name to define this group, but keep in mind that you can label and organize your groups however you'd like. Once the group name is entered, click the green checkmark button to save. Last, to add the student, select the group and then check the box to the left of the student's name. You'll notice the student's name line turns black once the box is checked. This confirms the student has been added to the desired group. Now that we have a student added to the account, you'll next administer a series of benchmark assessments to discover where your student's skill level currently lands in multiple subjects. You'll have the option to administer the assessments on a computer or tablet, or you can administer by paper and pencil. Either way, we highly recommend capturing the item level data the assessments provide to help pinpoint the student's area of need more precisely. Any assessment taken online will automatically be saved and scored, saving you a vast amount of time. Don't forget that the benchmark assessments are only available for Deluxe Edition subscribers. To administer the benchmark assessments, you'll first need to open your benchmark testing window through the account information page. You should set the benchmark testing window so it opens at the beginning of the season or semester when you want to administer the benchmark assessments. Note that all scores entered in the program manually will be plotted on the opening date of your seasonal window. If the assessments are completed online, then the actual date submitted will be used when plotting performance on student graphs. To set your benchmark window, click on the Manage Settings button in the Account Information page. You'll notice the Benchmark Window Settings box at the top of the page. Here you can adjust the dates to match your school year schedule. While you can customize these dates to meet your school schedule, we highly recommend keeping the seasonal assessment windows to 21 days or less. Following our recommendations helps maintain the validity and comparability of the norms and percentile lines as you move forward through the year. Once your dates are set and the duration column boxes are green, click Save Changes to finish. Now that you have set your benchmark windows, we can use the classroom link in the Measures tab to confirm that students can access the assessment. Note the easyCBM program automatically assigns benchmark tests to students in the corresponding grade levels. If you need to assess outside of a student's grade level, aka off-grade testing, this is best done using progress monitoring measures once you have moved past the benchmark performance information. High school teachers note, the off-grade testing strategy in easyCBM is often used by high school SPED teachers who turn to the K-8 materials to assess their students in grades 9 through 12. For more information on off-grade testing, please refer to the easyCBM Teacher Help Center in the Resources section. Now that you have confirmed that the benchmark assessments are available for your students to take, you can administer them. We highly recommend students take the assessments online with a computer or tablet, which allows you to easily collect item level data. However, you still have the option to administer the assessments with a paper and pencil if that better meets the student's needs. Responses to assessments recorded this way will need to be entered manually into the system. If you used paper and pencil to administer the measures and need to enter the scores in manually, you have the option to enter in a total score or item level data. Again, we highly recommend entering item level data to gather as much detailed information on the student's area of need as possible. Also, to better meet your students' needs, please read our in-depth info on accessibility in the easyCBM User's Manual, Appendix B, page 113. Now that your student has taken the benchmark assessments, we can look at the results and see the percentile rank associated with their performance. When viewing easyCBM results, the assessment scores are plotted on a measure-specific graph with percentile lines that correspond to the national norms, updated every 5 years. When analyzing data and deciding on interventions, keep in mind that the overarching goal of easyCBM is to have your student at or above the 50th percentile on each measure before they move to the next grade. In these next steps, we use the assessment data to determine if an intervention is necessary, and if so, how to pinpoint the specific area of need. To access the student's benchmark report, click on the Reports tab. The first report you'll see is the Benchmark Scores report. This report provides the benchmark scores for measures recently taken. Next, find a student by selecting the correct grade level. Once you have located the student in the system, look to the right of the student's name. You should see benchmark scores colored green, yellow, or red. Green reflects student performance that is proficient with no risk. Yellow reflects performance that is likely proficient with some risk. And red reflects performance that is likely not proficient with high risk. If the scores are all green, no unique intervention is necessary. If the scores are mostly red and/or yellow, a unique intervention may be needed, and the suggested progress monitoring box will provide information on the area of need and recommend monitoring measures and intervals. Note that all 3 benchmark scores work together to provide the suggested progress monitoring recommendation. If one of these scores is missing, no monitoring suggestion will be provided. Once you have determined a unique intervention may be necessary, note the suggested progress monitoring subject and monitoring interval for future reference. The next set of data that helps pinpoint the student's area of need is the item level data, which can be found in the Report section under the Groups tab. Here you can select the student's group to view the detailed analysis of the correct, incorrect responses. Once you've selected a group, scroll down to the benchmark assessment where the item level data is captured. The details of the question type can be found in the second column labeled Type. This column displays the exact problem type of the question that was presented for both reading and math problems. Click directly at the top of the Type column to organize the questions by category. Once you have determined that a unique intervention may be necessary, note the question types where the student was incorrect for future reference. Analyzing and recording this detailed data can assist you, the parent, IEP team, and/or specialist to make decisions on possible interventions. Once the score has been saved and entered into the program, this is what a benchmark score will look like on the student's graph. Now that you have met with the parent, IEP team, or specialist, and decided on a unique intervention and appropriate practice, along with the type of progress monitoring measures you'll use to evaluate whether the approach you select is working, you can now articulate what intervention you plan to try for the student. The intervention template tool will help you schedule and record practice information and can be adjusted as you work through the season if the student's needs change. To document an intervention you're providing, select the Intervention tab and click on the green Create Template button. This will pull up the Intervention Template tool. Before we proceed, ensure the progress monitoring suggestion and item level data results you collected earlier are easily accessible. This information will be essential in building a detailed and appropriate intervention. First, use the progress monitoring suggestion to label the intervention with the content focus and the tier level of support. At the bottom, add a brief description of whatever information you may find helpful when reviewing the intervention later. Select the tier of support, the student-teacher ratio, and the duration and frequency of the practice sessions. Next, select the specific area of need using the item level data. Last, choose the instructional strategy or strategies you'd like to try with the student. Click the green Create button to save, and then the blue Apply button to assign the intervention to a student or group. Once finished, you can review the intervention by clicking on the student's name in the list on the lower left side of the page. The Notes section should be used to log relevant information about the instruction for later sharing, and if needed, you can adjust the starting date of the intervention, which sets where the line is plotted on the individual report graph, by clicking on the date in the bottom left-hand corner. Now that you have an intervention added to the student's profile, here is an example of what the intervention line on their graph will look like. Now that the intervention has been added, you can add the overall goal to the student's graph. The seasonal or yearly goal should be decided on when meeting with the parent, IEP team, and/or specialist. Keep in mind that the overarching goal of easyCBM is for students to land at the 50th percentile or above before moving on to the next grade level. You can use the detailed percentile lookup table when setting goals for students, but please keep in mind that teachers, parents, IEP team members, and/or specialists should use their personal knowledge of the student to decide on a goal score and deadline that is realistic and achievable. To set a goal for a student, click on the Reports tab, and then the Individuals tab. Locate the student for whom you'd like to establish the goal, and to the right of the student's name, click on the blue Goals link. Here you can elect to start a new goal. Click the New Goal button, and the goal creation template will open. We recommend adding the intervention's area of need into the measure type box to easily recognize the subject being practiced. Next, you'll enter the projected goal date. This date is when you'll hope to see the student reach their goal. Enter the date into the goal date dropdowns. Finally, we'll use the goal date as a starting point to locate the 50th percentile score at that time of the year. To do this, you'll need to open the detailed percentile table. In the Reports and Analysis box, click on the Detailed Percentile Table button in the top right. Now that we have the percentile tables open, you need to locate the grade level and measure for the student. First, you'll locate the season and percentile you hope the student will reach. In this case, the expectation is for the student to be at the 50th percentile by the end of the year. Next, you'll locate the spring season, and then follow the chart down to the 50th percentile row. Once you have found the 50th percentile row, follow the row to the left, stopping at the score column. This is a score that will be entered into the goal score box in the goal creation template. Now that you have a goal score, navigate back to the goal creation template and add the score into the goal score box. Last, you can add any information you, the IEP, or SST team may find useful in the goal description box. Once the goal is saved, here is an example of what the goal projection will look like on the student's graph. Now that the intervention is scheduled and a goal established, both date and performance level, you can begin intervention sessions, followed by administering a progress monitoring measure once sufficient time has passed that improvement in the skill area might be detectable. For students receiving interventions, progress monitoring measures should be administered every 2 to 3 weeks to verify that the intervention is having a positive effect. Once 3 progress measure data points have been entered, the ROI, or rate of improvement, and projected goal line will appear on the student's graph. The ROI and goal lines track both the current and projected progress, while also providing the teacher and/or IEP team appropriate information to guide needed adjustments. To start progress monitoring, click on the Measures tab. Next, select the grade level of the measure you wish to assign. Notice that the measure titles associated with fluency do not have a Take Online option. These measures are time measures, which must be administered live, and the scores entered manually. Locate the exact measure you wish to assign and check the Take Online box to the right of the title. Once you check the Take Online box, a drop-down menu will open. From here, you'll need to check the box next to any group that you wish to assign the measure to. That covers the essential steps to easyCBM success. When everything has been done properly, the student's final graph should look similar to this end-of-year example. Remember to follow these steps in order, gather sufficient data to target the area of need, apply that data to the intervention curriculum, set a goal with the parents or IEP team, and then adjust those features accordingly to what the progress monitoring results are telling you. If you need assistance while implementing these essential steps, please reach out to support@easyCBM.com. The support desk is open Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Thank you for choosing us, and welcome to the easyCBM family.